Still looking down, guys.
Hey everyone, we're live. Welcome to our last book chat about the Victorian Rebels. We're here. We're ready to talk about the last book. We're ready to talk about Morley and Prue. So I'm Chris from Books and Chris.
I'm Carrie with Book for Romance.
Alicia _Reeves.
Natasha, Book Diva 401.
Yay! Thank you so much for everybody. I mean, I feel like we've all been on this like crazy journey, right? And here we are 7 weeks later after all of these Victorian rebels. And we get to talk to Kerrigan. And spoiler, so for this chat, we wanted to make sure everyone knew we are going to be talking through the whole series. So if you have not read up to Seducing a Stranger, or even more into some of the good girls, we are talking about all of them. So if that's not in your wheelhouse,
or you don't want to be spoiled,
this might not be like the place for it. But we're gonna try. We're gonna do our best. Before Kerrigan jumps on, should we talk about Seducing a Stranger?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Chris, what'd you rate it?
I loved it. I would say a strong 4.8. Like it was like right there for me. I loved it. All right, do I go into it? I'm gonna go into it.
Yeah,
right?
go.
Okay.
We here.
So, all right. So now I gotta think, right? Because I had a brain fart. So I liked how we finally got Caroline's story and how she was connected to Morley. I like that she still kept it dark. She's trying to get in. I like that Kerrigan's coming, y'all, so get ready. I like that she still kept it dark and gave us the really effed up scene with Caroline and how he cut her and, found her there and screamed her name and saw her hair and saw the rap that he got her and knew that it was her. And I like the build up to that point where he was telling Dugan, like, you're gonna marry my sister, right? Like, you're gonna help us like get out of this situation. Like, we have a plan. And he's like, yeah, and I want her to sleep with me. And I like the part where he was like, what do you mean? He was like, no, not like that. You guys remember that part?
Yes.
And I liked her character. She was a lot different than the other female characters in the sense that she was very innocent, I think, compared to the other female characters that we had. I thought she was very like, even though she was caught in that compromising position with the freaking dagger and it looked like she killed her husband. This book portrayed her to be very innocent. And oh my God, the scene at the whorehouse, like, whoa.
Can we take about the garden? I mean,
and
like,
it on
where's
audio.
that garden at? Like,
in the audio.
He had me laughing out loud. How do you be chasing this villain and you just stumble into this whorehouse of a garden and then you just like perform?
Go along with it.
Really good.
Yeah.
He just jumped in with 2 feet. I said, well, damn, all right. I was like,
it was so good. And I was really surprised that her sister ended up having that role that she had. Like, I didn't see that coming at all. I don't know what I expected. I was thinking maybe her father had something to do with it because her dad kind of seemed villainous, like from the get. But then when they said it was like her sister and the brother-in-law, that kind of like threw me for a loop. I wasn't expecting that. And I don't know. I think it probably would have been a little grimier if it would have been like dad, like was like fucked up and like set his daughter up to look like she murdered the guy. I don't know. Like my mind could have gone away with it, but it was great. I enjoyed it. I think it was a nice book to end the series with.
Absolutely. Yeah. I rated it a 4.5 hands down. And then on Goodreads, it just went up to a 5. I mean, honestly, so Best C totally stole my thunder in the Disney. I love it. I'm totally going to mention that where they were like, oh, well, you have to throw her in jail because I stole away to my castle, and I raised you a castle, and I have a pirate ship, whatever. Like the writing was just so good when the three of them are in there debating like how they kidnap their women. Like I was just like, I'm here for that every day of the week. It was just so good. And then I really liked, I forget. Okay, Fairy. What is Fairy's name again?
Oh, Farrah.
Farrah. Okay, I really liked how she was like, I tried for 5 years and got a kiss. You tried for 5 minutes and you got him to like. So I was like, that made me happy. Like, because I could see like her like being like, oh, he's still in love with you. But then it's like, no, like, girl, you were there for 5 seconds and you made it happen. Like, I love that. That was, to me, that was awesome.
Yeah, one thing with Kerrigan, I feel like she takes like these very hard character, like male characters, right? And then you have him putting together a crib and like making this for the baby, and it's like he was locking it away because he didn't want anyone to see like that he could have this side of him. That I was just like, oh. And then when Dorian has his kids, and I was just like, oh, I was like, damn it, Kerrigan, you played the long game on this one. And I was not mad at it. What did you think, Natasha?
I loved it. I gave it a 4.5. Anytime a book can make me kind of chuckle out loud, it's a great thing. It was a really good segue into the next series, and it really left me wanting more. But I really enjoyed seeing a different side of Morley, because in my head, he was just this very stuffed shirt, investigator that, didn't know how to fucking have fun or smile. And all of a sudden, he's in the garden. Hey,
What's wrong with my electronics? But they didn't like StreamYard, but we figured it out with my phone.
All right.
Oh, no.
Yay. I saw you popping in and popping out, but I didn't see your face. I just saw your name, and I was like, okay, something's going on. She's coming in.
I'm like, this is not working. And now my podcast is playing on my phone because why not? Can you hear anything in the background?
No, we hear you.
We're okay.
So we were just talking about Seducing a Stranger.
Oh, uh-huh.
Yeah, we were all just because we just finished it, and we were all just giving our little remembrances on it and touching on all the different parts that we enjoyed. And so Natasha was just ending off. I think it was a really nice book to end the series with. I like how it brought everybody back together. It was great. It was a wonderful series. We really enjoyed it. Everybody in the chat enjoyed it. And there's going to be spoilers, people. So make sure y'all read all the books, because we're going to talk some Victorian Rebels. Yeah.
This definitely ended up being one of my new favorite series. I can hands down say that. With some books that I have, it's like, okay, I'll read them and I know that I'll keep them on my shelves for a little while, but I'll eventually unhaul them. Yeah, these aren't going anywhere. No, they don't have a permanent home. So
it's really interesting when someone's like, can you give me a recommendation on a historical romance writer? Like, I know I could recommend you hands down, and someone walked away 5 stars. Like, it's like, I think of an author that you always give 5 stars to, and your name always comes up with a couple of stars. So
absolutely,
it's just the way you write is just so solid. It's literally I know what I'm gonna get from you, and you deliver every time.
Oh, thanks, guys. Don't anymore. Because I feel totally different about, I always have books that I love to read, and two have written, and other books where I'm like, well, that happened. I tried my best. Sorry. I don't know. There's just some of them I'm super aware than others, for various reasons. But I love that all of them spoke to you at least a little. So that makes me happy.
And with authors, though, you're always going to have your favorites. There's always going to, there's always going to be one that just is on top.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It has to be, right? Because then what's the point of reading? Right. You're just going to read a book and be like, I really didn't like him, so I'm going to read it again.
Like if you had to pick one of your, like, of the 7 heroes we had, who would be the one that you would want to live with forever? And then the other one that you would want to just like fuck for a night and move on.
Okay. Kiss, marry, kill. I think I would like to live with the Rook forever. I really love him. Yeah, I really love him. But like, I would definitely want to be in like a him and Dorian sandwich, maybe. But there's also, let's say those 3 are like, Argent is just somebody that like, I don't know. Those are my 3 favorites though. They always were. So. But
I like what you're going with, like, the sandwich.
Yeah. Like, there's just something about the Rook that I just enjoyed the most. I don't know.
It's that bad boy pirate.
See, I know Natasha and I have like a battle over this one, because like I love Christopher Argent and she's like the Rook. And I'm like, no.
I mean, look, you can have your sandwich. You can have the Rook and
the coochie crunch.
The mustard. I mean, there you go.
The stuff of breaking a pirate ship, though, there's something so badass about that. Like, it's just like ups that game. Like, nobody else had a ship. Like, I have a castle, I'll raise your ship. You know, like.
Well, and his ship was like badass. It had like hot water and shit, and I'm like, really? Is that like, did you research that? Did ships really have that? Or did you just like make that up in your head? Because it seems like
no, I was really excited about, like, I actually had a hard time because in that time frame, ships were having some kind of renaissance. Like after the steam engine, they kind of got to a point where they could use boilers. So they did have hot water. They could cook really well on the ship. Like, I mean, this was only 20 years before the Titanic sailed. So, I mean, it had a lot of, maybe 25, but yeah, they had really nice steam engines, and they got to the point where they could cross the Atlantic in 6 days. And so I was like, this is not your like average pirate. This is sort of your almost modern pirate. So he has a lot of advantages now that like your like ye old windsail Jack Sparrow pirate didn't have, you know?
Right.
So like he could steer his boat like, and he could go really fast. I don't know, just and but I love that there was like I really geeked out on all of the research I did on ships, because you know.
You keep it? Do you have like a folder for like each book with like all your like research or like printed documents or like books that you use to like reference? Like, what's your process like?
I do sometimes. I mean, it depends on what it is. If it's a little, like, there's sometimes when I drop everything and go like, what was that? I don't know. Like, is this anachronistic? I don't know. So I'll go like do a quick Google search or whatever. But there are some things that I do keep only because actually after Dorian's book, while I was writing Dorian's book, I looked up marriage vows, like Scottish marriage vows and a bunch of different things. And there was one in a book, like a book that I had in my hand, that was the marriage vow from Outlander that they use.
Oh.
But I don't read Outlander. Like, I tried it and I like DNF'd it, and it's not because I didn't love it. I just didn't. I mean, well, I didn't. I just kind of put it down for no reason. Then I just was kind of, my mind was wandering.
Because the books are huge.
They're long. They're long books.
They're big ass books.
Right.
Yeah. I've only read the first one and I'm good with that.
And I don't know what's wrong with me. And sometimes I feel like I should go back and try again, because maybe I was just in a bad headspace, but I didn't read it. And so I found this vow that I thought was really beautiful and it just says like Scottish wedding vows. And I was like, oh, I'm going to use this one because it said it was traditional, you know? And so I'm like, okay, so I put it in the book. And then when it was being translated into German, the German publishers came back and said like, she totally ripped off Diana Gabaldon. And I was like, wait, what? And they're like, yeah, that's something that she wrote. And I was like, no, like it's in this book. And I keep, like, I do have all my books and like my research books on a shelf. And so I was able to prove that, like, I pulled it from a book, but that book pulled it from, I guess, Diana Gabaldon, because she claims she wrote that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So, as far as they said, you know, so so they ended up having to change it in the Highwayman to a different, I had to write different vows or whatever.
That was right in the beginning, right when they were the kids doing I remember that. Yeah.
So I kind of had to be like, okay, that taught me that it's good to keep things like where I learn things
As
or where I
proof.
get them from.
Right.
Yeah. Because I was able to point at something and say, like, this is where I got it. You know, it seemed legitimate to me. And then everybody went, yeah, that does seem legitimate. That's not on you, kind of thing.
Right.
So
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's tough.
Wow.
you know, I felt squicky about it.
Right.
Yeah, but it's weird because now she had to deal with the fact that she took that and she's claiming that she wrote it.
I don't know. I didn't look into it further. So
Yeah.
Well, if you ever want to finish the book, I highly recommend the audiobook for The Outlander. The audiobook was really, really good.
yes. And I
That
pretty much
show
knew what
amazing.
yeah.
The show is good too.
Which,
Yeah.
okay, so yeah, Tiffany is hilarious tonight. If you could put, yes, he can steer his boat. I enjoyed when he asked her to be captain and steer his boat.
Well,
Well,
I agree with Christy too that your narrator, Derek Perkins, he is the bomb.com. He's so freaking awesome. Like I enjoyed listening to I did mostly all I have all the books and I did mostly all audio. And I just loved his little accent and his swinging to the female voice. It was just great.
He does female really well. He doesn't overdo them.
No.
He just softens his voice a little, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's totally a chick. I get that.
Yeah.
I've been doing duet with him recently, though, with Stella Hunter and him.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love your Good Girls. The Good Girls on audio. Love it because it had the duet in it, but also your Christmas one had Shane West in it. Shane West. And he was really good too. Like, I was like, I loved your kid, but if you ever have to like incorporate another guy, like he was really well.
He was very good. He's my backup, basically, like if Derek's not available, because Derek doesn't do very much with romance. He does a lot of like historicals and kind of like legal thrillers and that kind of stuff. And so he's pretty busy, and he just moved to France, which is like rude. And so I mean, we still work together, obviously, but just in case, you know, if he's ever too busy, then I try to get Shane, because I really, really like Shane. I think he did a very wonderful job. And I've been told a couple of times that, like, there's a chance that Derek might be kind of aging out of the romance industry anyways, because you can kind of hear, you know, he's in his 60s, close to the 70s, you know, and I don't know, like I think it's fine, but I have heard a little bit of feedback on that. So
I can absolutely see that, because I started out with the audiobook and it wasn't, and I could tell in his voice, and I had to switch from the audio to the paper copy, because there was just something that, I don't know, when he was reading the scenes, I don't know if it just felt like my grandpa was reading it to me, or I got better results from the paper books. I mean, I can kind of see where people get that from. So
I do, but
I know.
I like it. I just think of this tiny little English dude sipping tea and reading these dirty, nasty lines, and it makes it so much more interesting to me. Ever since you said that, now it's like stuck in my head. So
I don't want that visual.
When Morley's eating her out in the freaking poorhouse yard, I'm just like, oh my God, this poor little old man is having this visual. And it's so naughty.
I really got him ready. Like when I approached him, like because we've been working together since 2013 or 14, and I was like these are more erotic books than I think you're used to. And he's like, I'm European. We don't care about that. And I'm like, how comfortable are you saying like cock all the time? And he's like, we say it like, we just call each other that. We call each other cocks and cunts and all sorts of like, he was totally cool about it. And I'm like, okay, like it's going to be Stevie. And I have gotten a couple of emails from him where he was like, he lived in Massachusetts before he moved to France. And he was like, it is 2 degrees outside, and I did not have to turn the heat on in the booth today. But like he's been very appropriate, you know.
He's great though, because when he does his voices, like like with narrators, it's hard because to do multiple voices and be totally different people. Like he's got like 20 accents. I know that, and that's nuts. Like that.
Well, he speaks a bunch of languages. Like I think he speaks Spanish. He speaks a little bit of Russian. He speaks French. So he's good. You know, he gets the accents down. He's amazing.
Right.
Cool.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so as the author, because these ones, you know, are owned because they're with St. Martin's Press, or with a bigger company than with the ones that are the Good Girls, do you get to pick him? How does that work? Do you say like, Derek is my guy, he's going to do all my books?
Yes. Yeah. I asked him that from the beginning just because he'd already done some of my indie stuff a long time ago, like the Highlander books and everything. And we just did like a royalty split on that. And then I was just like, he's incredible. And, you know, people are kind of used to hearing his words, you know, like we already building a brand together. So can we just keep going? And they were like, yeah, sure. I mean, why not? And he won an Audi for the Highwayman.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
Audible, the audio Oscars. So I mean, I really he did such a fabulous job, you know, with everything. So, and I love his Scottish. I love his Scottish accent. So,
well, in the audiobook, when Morley finds Caroline by the water, and then he says, Caroline, like the way he did it, like that scream, like I could see him like on his knees by the water, by his sister's body, like Caroline. Like I kept replaying. I was like, oh my, I was bawling. I was like, oh my God. They said like she was like shredded, and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm trying to picture how up she was. And it's just like, how old was she when she died? Like what age was she supposed to be around?
I think it was like 15 or 16. They were not old, you know. They were young.
She was staying with these guys to have like room and board, like to have somewhere to sleep at night, right?
Yeah. So a lot of times, like I did a lot of research into that area anyway, because I was like kind of simultaneously writing my Jack the Ripper mystery, and it was really intense. Like it was insane how many women, I think especially in the East End, like 1 in 4 women worked in the sex trade. Like really high. I mean, a fourth of the women worked in the sex trade. And then you know, people were as young as 12. Like as long as you kind of passed for old enough, and obviously even if you didn't, like there's a market for everything. So it wasn't strange to fall into it at 13, 14, and 15, so that you could stay off the streets, because you can't beg anymore. You're not young and you're not little and cute. So people give you money. So you go to the factory, or you go to the brothels, kind of, or you get a husband. Like that seemed to be
it. Your only option
for women. Yeah, it was terrible. Like
so when Morley talks about, like after in the book, when he's talking about I think he's in the nursery and he thinks about Caroline, and he says she would have either been a mother or an aunt, right? So I was like, wow, it would have been good to see like what her story would have been like if she wasn't murdered, you know, because we have like so many guys that come from like these dark places, and then like, you know, you have Argent, you have Dorian, you have, so what would her story have been like had she not been murdered? Like, what would her dark, so like, would she have gone through that rape or that torture that night, and how she would have come out of it? I don't know. I was just kind of thinking Caroline's story would have been a nice story to know had she not been murdered.
Yeah. I shouldn't have killed her, guys.
You know, it's interesting because that kind of mimics how to lose a drink in 10 days, where, I mean, I don't want to give anything away, but like that kind of road. Like,
yeah. Well, I wanted to have a more female-centric series where it was kind of like, yeah, they went through all of the stuff. Like, their guys are still kind of dark and everything. But it was more the women who had a lot to overcome and a lot to deal with that way, you know. And the guys were a little bit more, I mean, they had their own stuff, but they were a little bit more put together.
Yeah.
So they weren't like all so broken that they couldn't even.
Well, that first chapter in that book was crazy.
We love a broken man. Like,
I know.
Yeah, but it's good to have the broken women too, because I like when they come out stronger and they've been through all this shit, and it's just like women can fucking do anything. Like, we know men are like men, you know. But like,
Yeah,
when a woman comes out on the other end, it's just, I don't know. And we're the ones reading it, so fuck.
It's our fantasy, damn it. We do what we want.
yeah.
Well, I've been thinking, I don't know. I've kind of been thinking about, I have a couple more good girls to go, so maybe I'll put one of them through like The Ringer, or
and you'll name her Christina. You'll name her something Christina, like as her middle name, and be like, oh,
Christina.
The really fucked up one, the one that goes through the most crazy shit. I'll take her.
I don't think about Christina yet.
So that segues into another question with the good girls. So you have Felicity in May, right?
Yes.
And then who is after that?
Like, I kind of don't want to spoil it.
Oh,
okay.
There's a situation. So
you don't have to. We're like,
No. Yeah.
I was wondering on that one because when you said like I have more good girls, and I was like, wait a minute, weren't there only like 4? Like,
there's a couple more. They're relatives.
Okay.
Yeah.
They didn't come from this like a-hole of a mother who I just wanted to like kick its teeth. Like throughout this whole thing, I was just like, I do not enjoy you. I do not like you.
She's not. Yeah.
Carolyn has a question. Who are the main characters for the rest of the good girls? I've enjoyed the beginning of this year. You gotta wait.
Wait till after what, May 11th? May 11th is Felicity and Gabriel. Is it Gabriel or Gabriel? Gabriel.
That's my son's name.
Oh, I do. I've always loved it. I kind of want to use it again, but where was I going with that?
Gabriel and Felicity.
So, yeah. In the audio, Derek, when his French brother, well, they're Monegasque, they're from Monaco, they speak French. So when his brother talks to him, he calls him Gabriel because that's how you would pronounce it in French.
Right.
But it's Gabriel when for English speakers,
Right.
native English speakers. So
there was a question in the Discord about the good girls, actually, and it says she wants to know what made you change Felicity's pairing in the Good Girl series from Elijah Wolfe to Gabriel. And she wants to know if you will use him in another Good Girls book.
Yes, that's exactly the point of what I did. Yeah. Basically, these guys showed up at the end of Courting Trouble, and I was like, hello. Like, I don't know. Like, I just kind of got, it was a totally on the fly decision. Like, I had kind of some outline stuff for this, and I was like, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll bang that out and it'll be fun, but I just wasn't really feeling like tons of chemistry between the characters, but I liked the idea of the men. And then I was like, these guys though are super fun. And then I got scared because I was like, well, maybe people are getting sick of me writing about London gangsters. Like, oh, now that Dorian's out of the way, like everyone's a gangster.
Like, never have too many gangsters.
Yes, no, we
Gosh, bring it on.
Yeah, I am having a lot of fun with Gabriel and Felicity. I think they're two virgins, and that was weird for me because I know that like Dorian kind of was too, but like I worry that like they took too long to get together, but it's just weird when for two virgins, like it's kind of weird.
Yeah,
kind of weird.
That, right?
They really make up for it. They really make up for it. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to keep going.
And so for the one after Felicity, are we thinking like December? Are we thinking like January 2022? Like how long are we in between?
Yeah, I think it'll be this year. I think it'll be it'll be either like a Halloween or a Christmas situation.
Awesome.
Okay.
So yes.
All right, we will take that little nugget and we will like ruminate on it until then.
But it will be Elijah. It will be Elijah, and then the other one who I forgot his name.
So,
I have it written down.
Charles has this question: have you ever considered writing more historical romance? That's your thing. It's historical romance. Like you love the dark, right?
Yeah,
the dark historical. That's his question. He said maybe under a pen name. Now, why would an author go under a pen name? Like, why wouldn't you just stick with Kerrigan Byrne?
Actually, it's funny. I have thought of this. I have thought about writing something more erotic or like more taboo under a pen name, just because. I don't know. It's dangerous out there right now. You know what I mean? And so if I wanted to explore some stuff that was like, I don't know, not consenty or fetishizing certain things, and I didn't want to
yes, do it. And then just like DM us the pen name, like silently, like be like, this is the pen name, and then we'll promote it like under a like, ooh, we love this new author, and we will let people know. But yes, but your pen name.
You gotta get the art for it first. You gotta give us the art.
Yes, and then we will promote it because like I would love something like man sandwich or something from you. Come on, yes, don't be
that
afraid.
Would be awesome.
Do it.
Yeah. I had this like idea about gargoyles, and I know that's like gargoyles. I did like I was kind of like, so if I did a little bit of like paranormal erotica too, that was kind of like, I don't know. Do you guys ever read Mary Janice Davidson? Do you know who she is?
I haven't. No.
She wrote this really funny paranormal series called about Betsy the Vampire Queen. And she's basically this really dumb blonde who accidentally becomes a vampire queen.
I've seen this.
She's like the worst. It's hysterical.
The covers are interesting too.
Yeah, the covers are interesting. Kind of like a Sookie Stackhouse feel a little bit, but it's funny. So she wrote this erotic story one time. And I don't even think it's really in circulation anymore because I haven't been able to find it forever. And I've kind of been looking for it, but I read it about 10 years ago, and it was about this like alpha werewolf who finds his mate in an elevator, and she's super ovulating and he's super in heat or whatever. And like, he sort of rapes her and he's real sorry about it.
Like it happens. It happens, you know.
He was basically like, they didn't know each other. He'd never met her before, but he's like, oh, you're my mate. Hi. And also, pardon me while I rip your skirt off. And I was like, why do I love this so much? Like the whole time he was like, this is going to be good for you. Like, I'm really sorry I'm doing this to you. Like it's happening, you know, I don't know. Like it was, I was like, how is she going to do this? How is she going to like redeem this guy? But it kind of works in a way because it was like a paranormal thing. And you're like, well, I mean, he was a wolf.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a dude. He's like a monster. So like monsters sometimes can do bad things and you forgive them a little bit easier than, I don't know. So there's stuff like that where I've been like, I like to go down that rabbit hole, but I don't think I can in mainstream fiction. So I would probably use a different name.
Right.
That makes sense.
We'd be here for it.
Yeah, we're here for it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
I have a question real fast because people have asked this and I'm dying for it too. When am I going to see my man Sebastian and Veronica? Like I want a pirate ship. I want them like sailing on the seas. Like he is of his own ship. I don't know. Whatever you have, I will read.
I set these guys up thinking that I was going to sign another contract for 3 more Rebels or 2 more, at least 2 more. Okay. So I thought I was going to get to write Morley and Sebastian, and Callum, like in a whole, like, oh, those are going to be my next guys, and that's going to be the wrap up. So, they didn't. They wanted something new, which is why I wrote the Devil You Know series. And I just haven't been able to like kind of afford to get back to it. Mm-hmm. And then when I signed with this new publisher with the Good Girls and stuff, our initial plan was to do those 3 books. But after I released A Dark and Stormy Night, the numbers just weren't there. Like people just weren't buying it. Like, I don't know. A lot of people were just kind of like, this is getting old. Like the series is too long and the sales just didn't happen. And so my editor was kind of like, I think it's smarter to package it as the beginning of a new thing and kind of write some fresh material that can sort of like keep you afloat so that you can go back to writing what you want, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So eventually, yes, I really do want to write Sebastian's book and Callum's book. I loved Callum.
Yes, I like Callum too.
Yeah. So I think they'll probably be shorter just because I don't have time to do anything that I want.
Novellas, yeah, little novellas would be fine.
And then,
but I do have covers for them and everything, so I can't give you an exact time, but within the next year or 2, it's going to happen.
Okay. Matt makes me wait 4 years. So, I mean, if you make me wait 2, it's fine. Like, it's as long as it's coming, like, eventually.
I want that werewolf one that you were talking about. Was it werewolves or zombies? Like, some kind of, like, freaky shit that you were thinking about? Remember the last time we were talking about it? I was like, ooh, that sounds
good. Something. Yeah. Like, gargoyles, werewolves are fun. Like, just things that are not just your, like, regular...
Yeah.
Regular paranormal. But I don't, Berserkers are like, I did Berserkers before. I still just love them. But I don't know.
Yes. If anyone has not read the Berserkers, like, shameless plug for the Highland, it's the Highland Magic, Highland Collection. It's on Kindle Unlimited, and it is like Berserkers, Druids, and Witches. And I highly recommend them. They are like short little novellas. I read all like 9 of them in like a week and a half, maybe, but like, the Berserkers were hot. Like, there is just something with like a man that can like go crazy and like kill a bunch of fucking people for you for like no real reason that you're just like, oh, that's hot.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That's it for me. I know.
Alicia, I'm going to need you to stop recommending books. Alicia's got me reading this Alien series. So they've got this like really long girthy cock, and then they have a little horn on top of their cock.
Yes. I read the Ice Planet Barbarians.
Right there.
Now when I get together, I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry, do you have an extra cock above the big one? Because I'm gonna need 2.
Yes, like your Tinder profile is gonna say like, I need to know, do you have an ancillary penis? Like,
right. And if you can't greet me like this, then sorry.
We can't hang. I'm telling you, it's so good. It's so good. So good. And I'm reading her other series right now too. Totally. Again, like the Ice Home. Yes. I mean,
I'm gonna pick. Is it an audio?
Yes.
Audio.
If you go on Hoopla, they have all of them on audio.
They're all on audio.
All of them.
Yeah. Yeah, she self-publishes, so it's like there's one every couple months or something. And I mean, they're not very long, but they're just this nice
Super
little chunk of like, yeah, this isn't your life, and you can like live someone else's. And
Right.
they're just
out of
fun.
your norm. Just gets you where you need to be.
They're just fun.
It fulfills its need, its purpose.
Mhm.
Little blue cock.
Little bliss.
So I have a question for you, Kerrigan.
Yeah.
What is the most difficult part of your writing process?
Like what? That's a good question. I think it's when I'm in the middle of everything. I think very linearly, and so there's a lot of times when I'm kind of in the middle of stuff and I just want to like rock it to the end. And I'm like, no, I mean, I need stuff to happen so that the end makes sense.
Right.
And so I get a little bit like I'm not a plotter. So a lot of times I start a lot of plot lines and stuff and then I'm like, oh, I've got to tie this up so it makes sense. And I just made it really complicated. And so I have to kind of sit and like diagram things out a little bit, which I just don't love to do. I'm just like, I just want to tell a story. I just want to sit down and tell a story.
Yeah.
And when I get to the point where I have to be like, okay, I have to make sure that this character would have done this, or that this makes sense, or that like this doesn't seem too contrived, and just like everything that is the mechanics of writing. Sometimes I just get like, can we just leave that alone so I can
all
just
those
make
clues that we were supposed to pick up on, you got to go back and make sure all your breadcrumbs add up, right?
all sense, and the timing makes sense and stuff. Like I was saying before, like, sometimes you get writing something and then you realize some time has passed and you're like, oh, this character has been pregnant for 18 months. And you have to go back and fix it because all that little stuff, it's just sweeping up everything sometimes.
Okay.
Gets tedious. But I would say that's, keeping track.
See,
And
that
so that kind of goes with like Stacy. So Stacy, a mess in the dress, who is on our chats all the time, and she's in the UK and she's fantastic. I don't know if she's here tonight because it's like 3:00 in the morning. But she wanted to know how much of the ending of the series for the Victorian Rebels did you plan out at the beginning? So did you, when you were thinking about it, was Morley always like this, or was he just a stuffed shirt and then he kind of became this?
Yeah, I wrote him as like the not Dorian. Like I was like, he's pretty boring and the safe choice, and she is gonna not pick him, and then that's the end. And then I was sort of like, well, now he's like a cop, so maybe I can make him sort of an antagonist to these guys because Argent and Dorian are so entwined, like why wouldn't Morley be still after them and still kind of be somebody that they would have to look out for, And in doing so, it was one of those things where, like with Sebastian and stuff, where like I just got a lot of emails where people were like, when are you going to write Morley? And I'm like, that was never a thing. Like, he's just a cop over there on the side of stuff, And then it just kind of kept happening, I guess. And then he kind of kept showing up. And I'm like, well, I mean, he is kind of interested and he is good at his job. Like, what happened? What happened to him? So then I just, I found something.
Right.
Okay.
Very cool.
Well, thank you for not leaving the Mr. Rogers impression of him in my brain, because he is so far from it now. It's like, damn. Okay.
After he was in that garden,
he was ready to go.
See, and when Derek's narrating it, he's got that like Boston kind of accent going on. I don't know. I was all down for that, like the street accent. I was like, when is he going to pull that out? It's like, this is how he normally talks. And he's been talking for everybody else differently all along. Like, I don't know. I was like, it was really cool.
Yeah. I like kind of I was going to say stiff, but that, that has a different, I like a stuffy guy with like a bad past, like he's trying to redeem himself. So he goes overboard with being like, but I'm a good guy now. But he really has all of this stuff in his past that he's trying to like overcome. And then, lets it out, It's like, but wait,
Right.
To have sex in a garden or whatever.
Yes. Like,
It kind of
3
reminds
minutes
me
in.
of those TikToks that you see where this guy is this nerd and he's got these glasses and you would never, look twice at him, and then the transition and he's like hot and buff and you're like, damn, I want a nerd.
There, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
I love it.
Yeah. If you guys want to visit that stag place, like the Stags of St. James's, I want, please have that come back in a book somewhere. Like,
Yes.
That's where Alicia lives in her brain.
That's where I live in my brain. I walk through a forest.
In Alicia's garden, listen, Alicia's garden has Blue Aliens, Christian Argent. They're all just like lounging in her garden every night.
They're all in different areas.
When we go on vacation together and we like finally get together, and our husbands are like, where are we going? We're going to Alicia's garden.
Yeah.
I will do everything in my power to make this happen for you.
Please do.
Well, you got to make a kind of a safe spot for Carrie's garden.
Yeah, Carrie.
Carrie, we'll leave you inside. We'll all be outside. You can stay inside. You can babysit the dogs inside. You'll be
Carrie can be the lookout.
I'll be the lookout.
Oh, yes.
There's got to be a girl that's
she's
like
gonna be pouring the wine. Like, here, go get drunk.
The timid one, you know?
She'll be the madam of the house.
Like, the story of the woman who came up with the Stags of St. James, like she's a badass, first of all.
Kerrigan, you have to make a book, a series about a whorehouse and a madam and all the whores that live in the house. Bam!
I've always wanted to do that.
It's like a men and a women whorehouse. Like
both. Yes.
And then they can have and they can have sandwiches.
And the top whores are going to be Christina, Alicia, Carrie, and Natasha.
Paid whores.
Oh my God. You're gonna make it. Well, there should be a timid one. There's got to be a timid. Like,
that's Carrie.
That'll be Carrie.
Oh,
you're gonna deflower your image of yourself.
She would be the one whose friends like bought her bought her a stag for.
Yes. And we were all like peeping in the windows, like listening to the door and the walls to see like if it's happening yet.
Oh man.
That would be hilarious.
Yes.
Funny.
We need this story from you, Kerrigan.
Okay.
That would be awesome.
I actually kind of thought about that when I was thinking about, writing erotic stuff. I was like, what if I wrote about Madame Regina's or something where it was like, this is what goes on in a Victorian whorehouse or whatever.
Do it.
So
yes. Minus the diseases and like some hygiene. Like
no, we need at least one like syphilis case, because I mean we have to be true to the era, right? Like Natasha can have the syphilis.
No.
I feel like we could do it without the syphilis and with like a razor. Like we'll bring a razor in and like,
listen, and then you have to have a doctor. Listen, you have to have a doctor and a nurse in the series because a lot of these women used to go and get these illegal abortions.
Yep.
True. So that could be a spin-off, like boom. So you got the whorehouse, and then you got the doctor and the nurse that do all the abortions on the side. Yes.
And you know what's going to happen? Carrie's going to be the only one that ends up making it because the timid girls always make it to the end. She's going to be the 80-year-old Titanic woman telling the story from her rocking chair about her 3 other friends and how they died from syphilis and abortions gone wrong.
And Jack the Ripper got to them.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Well, the next Jack the Ripper book that I was writing is about somebody who does that, a woman who does that, and so she can't get justice for a murder because if they find out what she does, she'll go to prison and possibly be put to death, kind of thing.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
And that's part of the Fiona
Mahoney.
I can never say that last name. And do you know when that's coming out?
I'm hoping that it will be also at the end of the year.
Okay.
If not, next year.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be DMing you after this to be like, hey, what was that book you were talking about? Because I'm not writing any of this down right now, and I will forget.
Alicia's writing it all down.
Oh yeah, no, I
Clara's
got you.
here for the whorehouse.
Yeah, see, we're all here for
Moulin
the
Rouge
whorehouse.
whorehouse.
We're all here.
Get my new pen name in order and get to work.
Yes. We
I
have to come
fully
up with
give
a
you
pen
permission
name
to
for
use
you.
my name.
Yeah.
Natasha, yes. It could be Natasha.
Go
Or
ahead.
like something crazy like, a lot of vagina. Like something,
But I don't want to be the whore that dies at the beginning, though. I don't want to be the whore that dies at the beginning. I want to be the smart
I
whore.
would totally. If I was in Kerrigan's book, I'll volunteer. I'll be the whore that dies at the beginning. I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
Alicia will sacrifice.
I'll sacrifice myself to be the whore that dies at the beginning.
That reminds me of, like, I don't know if you guys watch Archer at all, but like back in the I think it's one of his first like things, and there was an escort or whatever, and he's like, "There's a dead hooker in my trunk," and the lady was like, "It's an escort," and he's like, "No, when they're dead, they're just hookers." I said that aloud, but like I laughed for 20 years at that.
He took all the professionalism she earned and just told her she's the hooker now.
Mm-hmm.
Whores who read. That's cute.
I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
We had a few other questions. One of them was from somebody who actually lives in India. And she said, you've mentioned India in your books. What do you personally like about India? Have you been there? And when will you be going there so she can meet you? But, I mean, not right now because it's like COVID and no one's going anywhere. But
Right.
have you been there?
I haven't. It's always been a place I am like obsessed with. I have a few people in my life who are from there, and we've had long discussions about colonialism and that kind of thing. And so it's something that I find really fascinating because India is like such a large place, and it's full of so many people who, like, if you go to North India, they're completely, it's like a different country than Southern, and so I would love to, I would love to kind of learn everything about everything. I think they're one of the oldest, richest, most like lovely cultures that are also so different than the West.
They hold a lot of storytelling high in their culture too. Like I know that a lot of like ancient Indian stories, like Raja, and they have like a lot of they have a lot of storytelling in their history. A lot of that, and the food is bomb. Like I would go to India just to eat. I fucking love Indian food.
I'll eat myself sick on Indian food, and like. I love their mythologies, and I love the way that they view, like they never had kind of the Victorian or like Catholic view of sex and that kind of thing. It's just so, and they're such beautiful people. Like
I'm obsessed with their textiles.
Indian men, like I think they're just, and Indian women, they're just beautiful. They're just a gorgeous people, and so, I would love to go there. I would absolutely love to go there.
And then you tie in that Kama Sutra into your books, right?
I absolutely would.
Yeah, you have to, because that's like a huge part of India too.
I have heard though, like I think it was Lisa Kleypas who got spanked a little bit for using the Kama Sutra and having one of her heroes go to India and learn how to be a good lover from a woman who is like a Kama Sutra master / like courtesan, like he paid for it. Right. And she kind of got in trouble for the fetishizing of Asian females as sex objects and that sort of thing. I did kind of think about it, and I'm like, I mean, I love that they literally wrote the book on having great sex. Like, and I love that that was part of some of their culture and stuff, but I also get a little bit worried about not correctly
interpreting it.
Depicting the culture, right? Like putting it in the right light. Yeah.
Right. Because I mean, I loved the idea of possibly writing like a mixed race hero, because there was a lot of, especially, you know, after they had been colonized and everything, there was a lot of mixing, British and Indian, and I loved the idea of that. But I'm really good friends with Amali Howard, who is Indian and grew in Trinidad. She's from Trinidad. I don't know if Trinidad.
They're West Indian. They have that West Indian influence.
But she's her mother's from India. Her dad's West Indian, and she's writing some really fabulous and diverse characters and that kind of thing. So I'm sort of like, I would probably rather leave that to somebody who has that background. Though in my heart, I would love to write about it just because.
But you got to be careful because so much cultural sensitivity right now that, you know,
right. And I want to
take it and break it apart, and then it's like an issue if you. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll be honest, I do fetishize it though a little. I mean, I hate maybe that about myself, but like there are certain things about the culture and the way the men look, and I'm kind of just like, yeah, I mean, I would love to write about one because I just love the way they look. And they're how graceful they are, you know. I was thinking about I was on a walk today with my dog. Like I went hiking, kind of. I say hiking, but it was pretty flat. It was just in the woods. I don't go up hills very often, I'm going to be honest with you. But, I was thinking about, there's an old native cemetery that the army, when they came here, like buried their soldiers, like turned it into their cemetery just because for land purposes, because it had been cleared of trees, which is like the worst. And then so I was kind of like walking with my white guilt all the way home, and then I started thinking about like what I mean, I used to, and I still kind of do, even though I haven't read one in a long time, but I loved, and I'm going to use the wrong words because that's what they were back then, but like Indian, like the savage romances, like like everybody was a half breed.
Yeah, like Laurie Copeland.
Like
everyone. Tomorrow is a Promise. Like those kinds of
Captured Women, Stolen Hearts. Yeah, I was totally into like the like native, you know, the noble savage warrior trope that is now totally dead, which it totally should be dead, but like, you know.
It's damn fun. Like,
my bits do miss it a little bit, even though my liberal minded, you know, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Stephanie Meyer kind of fucked it up too now, didn't she?
Yeah.
I was answering Stephanie's question. I really like The Wrath and the Dawn. It's an Arabian Nights retelling. So, but it's fantasy. So it's about. I have
a bunch of chic Arab books from Silhouette and Harlequin, which is weird. They do a lot of chic books.
Yeah,
a ton. So, Stephanie, if you are looking for some books, hit me up on Instagram. I have some that I could give you.
I have some that are more like BDSM-y, that are like a chic with like a harem. I don't know if that's like what. But I could definitely like, yeah.
I mean.
They're not, you know, they're not necessarily like this one like amazing like 400-page book that's going to change your life, but they're definitely kind of hot.
I think Arab men are good looking too.
I've
heard that Arab men have big, you know what's.
You're like making this a whole cultural thing. Like,
oh, no, you thought I was making it up. I was about to be like, well, actually, my aunt is a surge tech, and so she sees a lot of people naked because a lot of people have surgeries, and she said that these people be hung. So
She's taken a poll of all of the men she's seen naked.
Oh, God.
she was like, "You be surprised."
And I love something I do love about that the Arabian culture is like the fighting, like taking that and like putting into some sort of like cool, because I am a fantasy lover as well as historical now, but I would love a good fight scene, and I'm just like, those guys can fight, and I'm like, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Like,
they're really great, like Saracen swords and like
Right.
Bedouin fighting styles and that kind of thing. So great.
Mhm.
So great.
Mhm.
I just think of Game of Thrones and what's his name, Drago,
Khal
right?
Drogo.
Yeah, Khal Drogo.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Yeah, in the desert, on one of those big stallions. He'd be a stallion himself.
He's a stallion everywhere.
Everywhere.
His wife is like tiny. Like his wife
So-
is like pocket size.
His wife
Like-
in real life is from
Lisa Bonet.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like 5 foot nothing. She's like the
Yeah.
tiniest thing, and I'm like,
It's like
I
bones.
think his penis like has to be as long as like her whole area, right? Like,
Going height.
I just look at her and I think she looks
Yeah.
so old. I think she looks like she's aged so bad. I don't know. That's my opinion, but I think
the
he's so
problem is
fucking hot. And then I see him with her, and I'm just like, okay. She was beautiful back in the day, but she aged. Like she's.
I mean, she's like quite a bit older than him, though, isn't she? Like in her 50s or close
She
to
might
it?
be. Yeah.
I think
I know
she
she
is.
had a
Yeah.
kid with Lenny Kravitz. Her daughter with Lenny Kravitz. Is,
yeah,
she's a grown
it's
woman.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's beautiful. Her
Hey,
daughter's
good for her for getting a younger man, though. Props to
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
We're
And
just
they-
jealous.
keeping him too, and keeping him because he's fucking hot. You know how many women throw him? I would throw myself at.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
I mean, fantasy, hello. He's like, isn't he in that movie with like the water, or like he's the for Marvel? I watched
Oh,
it.
Aquaman. He's
Aquaman.
Aquaman. That's it.
I was
Yes.
so
too.
excited for that movie, and it was such a bad movie. I was like,
Yeah.
because I'm a Marvel super fan. Like I used to watch like X-Men in the morning when I was a kid. Like I would read comic books with my brother, and like I was super excited because I thought, okay, they're gonna make Aquaman like badass, and I like most Marvel movies. I love the Thor movies, you know, I love the Avengers movies,
Yeah,
and like yeah, I thought they were gonna do that with him, and it was like so cheesy.
Wow,
It was
yeah,
terribly
it was.
acted. It just
Yeah.
was not good at all.
Looking at
But
his
I've always
body.
heard that Aquaman was cheesy, even in the
said when he
comic.
start-
Hasn't he
he
always
said-
been cheesy?
Yeah, probably.
He said when he started making that movie, he was broke. He had wasted all his money from Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones?
Like,
Huh.
that fucking broke when he started Aquaman. So he was really happy that he had gotten that offer because he had like no money.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But there's
So-
so with it too. So I bet you, like, you know what it is? They don't know how it's gonna do, but now that it did well, maybe the next one will be even better. Like, I feel like the movies do better as they go because they get more production money.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
I hope
So
so.
if you love Marvel, have you watched WandaVision on the Disney Plus yet?
Not yet. I have like it's
Okay.
on my list of
We haven't
stuff.
watched it. I haven't watched it either, but like I know a bunch of people have. So
I totally shipped their relationship. Like I'm about those two. So I was kinda like, oh, I hope it works out. I don't know. I
Did anybody watch Coming to America? Because that was fucking great.
I haven't watched that yet either. No, I watched
That just came out, right?
Yeah.
it today, right? Last night.
Yesterday, I started it last night, and then me and my husband finished it today. It was great. Eddie Murphy brought back all the characters. I know it's like totally not related to what we're talking about. It was
Oh,
so
yeah. I totally want to watch it. I love that. Love it.
Did you guys go back and watch the show I told you to watch? Did you watch Behind Her Eyes?
no.
No, because I felt like it was too stressful. Like I can't handle that kind of stress in my life, Natasha.
Oh my God. You have to watch it. You have
Behind
to
her
watch it.
eyes. Behind
Yeah.
her eyes.
Mhm.
Oh my God. You have to. I'm telling you, because you're not going to want to get off the couch. And the last episode, you're going to be on the couch with your mouth hanging open. You're going to be
Oh,
like, what?
you know what show is good? The Good Doctor. I posted it before on Instagram. Yo, She catches her husband cheating on her with her friend's daughter. I'm not even gonna tell you anymore. You gotta watch it. It's so good. It's so and she's a fucking doctor. She has everything going for her, and this. Oh my god, you gotta watch it. It's so good, so good. And she gets him back. Oh, it's so good. You gotta watch it.
He's the one with like he's autistic, but he like can like
no. Okay. It's called Dr. Foster.
Dr. Foster. I was just gonna say it sounds like a
good doctor
called Dr. Foster. It's still good.
Okay.
Say that again.
I said I was just gonna tell you it sounds like a British show that I watched called Dr. Foster because you were saying yeah, and
That's
it's Dr. Foster, yeah.
Okay.
I loved that show. It was very good, very very good.
I just started season 2. I finished season 1. I'm starting season 2.
Fabulous, and the girl from Killing is in it. And I love her, so it's awesome.
Yeah,
it is
really good.
But I'm gonna watch Behind Her Eyes this weekend. I wanted to watch that and Coming to America because like that's such a blast from the past.
Yes, like, I feel like like I need to like crimp my hair and I need to put a big scrunchie.
Don't forget to slide the socks.
Yes.
Two or three pairs. When he's screaming, "I love New York," and they're like, "Shut the fuck up!" or "Fuck you." Oh, it's so sweet. So what's this Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel? Oh, that's on Netflix too. I didn't watch that one though.
Me neither.
I haven't either.
It's good
Beth did have a question regarding the book. So is Henrietta's School for Cultured Young Ladies supposed to be the same one from All Scott and Bothered?
Yes.
Ooh.
Those do have a little bit of a crossover. The those books happen about 10 years later.
Okay.
The Devil You Know series. So this is the 1880s, and it's the 1890s that the Devil You Know series happens in. So.
And we need to promote your book comes out Tuesday.
Yes.
The final one in the Devil You Know series. I got mine is pre-ordered. I am hoping it will show up on Tuesday.
Yeah, I have the most fun with her. Like, I have a hard time kind of writing hard women, or like badass women, because I'm generally so like I'm very like even tempered and I don't know, like kind of introverted and stuff. And so when I write a girl that's like all sassy and like I can do this, I'm gonna kick your ass. Like I get all like I don't know about this, so I have a hard time, not making her too bitchy or too this or that or whatever. But like. Francesca just worked for me. Like she just worked for me. I loved writing her. I thought she was so strong and amazing, but also like she needed this guy, she needed this man and he needed her too. And it was like, I loved their past together. I'm just like, I'm excited for it to be out in the world. So.
Well, we're excited too.
Yeah, we're excited. None of us have read it, right? Like
no.
Here's
Tiffany pre-ordered. So everybody, make sure you pre-order her book. It's coming out May 9th. I mean, May 9th. It is May 9th, right?
No, tomorrow, March 9th.
Yeah, okay.
May 11th is the Good Girls.
In 3 days.
Right. And here's the thing, too. I feel like I'm having a Kerrigan Byrne like week. Because I read all the Good Girls. I read the Morley one. I'm going to reread the How to Lose a Duke in 10 Days, All Scott and Bothered, and then to be ready for Tuesday because I can't remember details to save my life. So I feel like this is a weekend of just like your books for me. So I'm literally going.
You're gonna be so sick of me. You're like, I never want to hear about Kerrigan.
No way. No way. Absolutely not. So
no. Well, I think we're getting ready because we don't want to take too much of your time because we want you to go back to reading and to writing some more. But from the bottom of our hearts, we just have to say thank you, Kerrigan. Like thank you for coming on with us and for doing this and for just these characters. And we genuinely appreciate you and thank you.
And thank you for joining all our books and bullshit chats and getting dirty with us.
So fun. So I'm sorry that
anytime.
Tech does not enjoy you guys, but I very much do. So usually like to go grab a laptop like from my husband and be like, is your phone working? Is my phone working? My laptop doesn't like it. Like, I don't even know. My laptop camera's not even working. So I'm like, I'm glad it worked out. So thank you for being patient with me.
No,
No, you're good.
we would stay on until you came on. Like, unless you like were like, yeah, I
Right.
can't make it. We'd still be here waiting for you. So, but we love you. We thank you for letting us, you know, enjoy this series with you.
Mhm.
Thank you for doing it.
Of course. Of course. You're the queen of dark romance.
I know. And so after Felicity and Gabriel come out in May, if you want to like come back on and like promote the next one that you don't want to tell us about right now, we would be happy to hear about who's coming up after them.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
And if that person that you know has a pen name and drops a book somewhere out of the blue, and you're just like, oh my God, Christina, this girl just like dropped this book under this name. You gotta check it out.
And
all over.
Like dark. Yes, I think that's happening. So at some point in the future.
Awesome.
We don't know, but somehow there's a gargoyle erotic romance. We don't know where it came from, but we want you to read it.
What's gonna happen?
Check this out.
Absolutely.
All right, guys.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you so much. Take care.
You.
All right, guys. We're gonna wrap.
She's so sweet.
She's the freaking best, man.
She's so awesome.
Right.
She's
really
so awesome. If
This
y'all
is
have
just
not
fun.
ordered A Devil in Her Bed, Beth said that she read it and that she said it was fantastic.
Yep.
We have not, so I'm very excited to get mine on Tuesday. But
Go support. And thank you everybody for joining us on this journey. It's not the end of an era. We will be back. You guys are making me cry. We love you.
No. We are going to read The King of Libertines next week, and then we have Pam Godwin through the Sea of Ruin, and Carrie's going to read without all the holes, and it's going to be crazy. We are just not going to do this on Saturday night.
We're gonna make our own. Listen, announcement. We're gonna make our own fan fiction, and we're gonna build a whorehouse, right? Storyline. I'm gonna write a page. Carrie's page is gonna be saved for the last because you're gonna want all the dirty shit first, and then we can wrap it up with a nice little ending at the end, and we'll let Carrie have that. So I'll do a page. Alicia do a page. Natasha do a page, and Carrie do a page, and the Romance Book Squad will be coming out with their own short story novella.
Yes.
I'll give you guys an HGA. That's all.
I totally made that shit up, but if you guys are interested, let us know.
Well, it'll be Miss Natasha's whorehouse, and then there's like a phone sex room where all of it happens, and like I love it.
You guys, next time we come on, we have to have our own little names. Like, what would you name your person?
My whore?
My whore. Oh,
you know what I mean? Like at the Pretty Kitten or whatever, or the whatever.
Oh, it's a bear pussy.
Right. The bear pussy. Like, each one have like a name, right? We'd each have to have like our own name. I don't know.
Okay. I could do that.
The hairy kitten.
Chris, you just totally reminded me of this. I spend way too much time. TikTok was the worst app I could have possibly downloaded. But you just reminded me of that one where, it's like, show me you haven't dated in a while. This guy's pulling this girl's panties down to get smacked in the face with this.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Love it.
Oh my goodness.
That is special fetish. Someone at the whorehouse needs to pay more for.
Oh man,
maintain that, right? So someone needs to pay more for the privilege of that magnificent area.
Okay.
Because once it's shaved, it's very smooth.
You just gotta weave your way through the forest first.
Yes, you gotta. Yes.
You gotta fumigate that forest. Get all those critters out of there. All those woodland critters.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. See, we always leave you guys on a fun note. You cannot be
And so We are going to read Kings of Liberty, King of Libertines, the novella next week. We'll open up the Discord. We will chat on IG if anyone wants to do an IG live with one of us. Feel free to reach out. And if we've read up to the point you want to talk about, we'll be happy to do it. And then March 25, we will have Pam Godwin, who I am like, I'm freaking out internally about because, I love her. And like, I want to live in her skin. So,
I want her hair. Do you see how beautiful and red hair is?
So
pretty.
Bomb hair.
I just want to know what goes on in her head. Because, like, I mean, talking about characters who you don't want to like, but then you end up liking, like, her characters, like, rape people. And I'm like, oh, no, you're okay.
You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. I'm like, that's why he did that because of this, and his daddy, his mommy, like, and like, and just like internalize like why this is all okay. So
She just
I think it's like that in some of our reactions. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's all fine. It's all fine. Well, thank you all so much.
All right, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Bye, guys.